Welcome to our breakout room and session here, talking about a project we did last year between ALBIS, Kreativ, Gesellschaft and the Creatives joining this session. I would propose that we start with a short introduction. Perhaps I continue with myself. I'm leading the digitalization activities in the Otto Kahn group. ALBIS is one brand out of that group. We have a few others focused on plastics, raw material in general, but plastics in the ALBIS unit. But we have also a chemical, specialty chemical unit and a unit focusing on recycling. So yeah, that's for me. And I would say, Tania, perhaps.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tania, and I'm in the digital business team of Matthias at ALBIS. And yes, I was also part of the project last year.
Hi, I'm Olaf. I'm also one of the three creative designers that was in this project.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm an integrated designer from Hamburg. I was also one of these three creative designers. Yeah, I think that's all for now. Hello.
Me as well. My name is Florian, working as a design director at Peter Schmidt Group, which is the largest design and branding agency in Germany. And therefore I'm responsible for the structural packaging design and visualization with a small team. Yeah, also one of the three creative parts here in this project.
What we had also on board were a few more colleagues from ALBIS, obviously, but also guests or team members from Dräger Medical in that sense, because we as ALBIS wanted to try out a format together with our clients, and yeah, in this pilot project for us, it was a pilot at least, we started that with Dräger. Perhaps one more additional word about ALBIS Plastic. As said already, we are in plastics distribution. We do also compounding, so producing also this material, recycling and chemicals is another one. We are now Otto Kahn Group. Quite long history, 111 years, family business, more than $1 billion turnover worldwide, but still, a family business, mid-sized organization, with more and more corporate identity, I would say, and structures, as we've seen before. Yeah, our project was hygienic design, and perhaps Paul or Florian, one of you can give a bit more insight. What we did at the end was the result. What we developed together with Dräger, with our product developers, in a very interactive and open.
Maybe you jump on the previous page once more. Yeah. Because this was the starting point we were confronted with in the beginning. We started the whole project. Actually, Dräger and ALBIS, and these are Dräger machines here, they wanted to develop a new plastic so that the handling of this machine is more hygienic. And that was the overall starting point. But then actually, and now you can switch to the second page, we developed that we are actually looking at a different problem, and we had to see all this from a different view. So we splitted the whole thing that we needed clean machines in two parts. The first thing was that the interface shouldn't be touched anymore. That's the left sign, which is DI. And then the second part was LILI. That's an IPC guide. LILI stands for Leading Innovation, Low Infection. That's actually a system, or more or less a service, which we developed all together that is decreasing the points of infection. Flori, du vielleicht?
Should I continue? Yeah, of course. So here we can see the same as on the previous page, is split screen. So on the left side, we see the solutions and the results we came up with regarding the topic of prevention. So as mentioned before, we splitted our problem of the hygienic in clinics into two ways. So the first one is regarding all of these messy stuff you have in your intensive room. Is it the same word in English? I'm not quite sure. So as we have seen 2 pages before, there are a lot of machines and technical stuff and things which is quite messy and a lot of potential for hygienic infection. So therefore our solution, as we can see on the left side, is to hide all of these machines behind a second wall and have only a clean surface as an interface at the front, covered with a clean and nice glass panel with a touch screen and some adaptation points at the lower part, so that we can hide and everything what is potential possible as an infection risk, let's say. So therefore, regarding the prevention, this was our solution in a quite rough sketch style, as you can see on the left side. And the right side, regarding the topic of cleaning itself, it's more or less regarding our IPC guard. We tried to figure out how this could look like, what the ways are, where are the working points, how's the working flow of the cleaning stuff, all of these kind of things. So therefore we created kind of a system, a digital system, like a guard, IPC guard, who leads also the cleaning stuff. What should they do, where is already cleaned, where is still infection risk, and these kind of things. Everything will be tracked, and at the end of the day, you will have kind of a transparent system which shows you all necessary touch points and gives you feedback, can train the staff, can control all of the cleaning, all of the cleaned areas. So therefore, we have divided our basic problem into 2 parts. So the first one is prevention, and the second one is kind of a progress in the cleaning part. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Otherwise, just
all good.
feel free to add whatever you want.
Yeah. Now these two parts of the concept, I think we not only presented in with the pictures here, the team also, in particular, the creatives also built something in a bigger size during the vernissage, the finissage, the big event of our Kreativ Gesellschaft, when we showed the results of the project. Here, and you can get a glimpse of the Dräger panel here on the right side behind the team. Yes, that's as an introduction what was the scope of our activities, and now coming back to the 5 benefits we somehow got out, and here we want to give you a bit of a glimpse what were our learnings, but feel free also to raise your hand and questions if you have further questions regarding our learnings here. So for I said in the beginning, for us we started as a group, or had the idea as a group, that we need some kind of innovation process with our customers, because we wanted, as an organization where we have our own product development, but with focus on the material in-house, we wanted to get closer to the production or the innovation process of our customers. So to the product design, who really build a new product which has parts with plastics material, because we believe that with our knowledge about additional functionality of this plastics or this material, which replacement of other materials with perhaps better carbon footprint or whatever question it is, that if we get earlier into the process, then we can deliver something nice out of it. And we said we don't want to describe that in a theoretical process, but rather start that and try it out. And there, the program of the Cross-Innovation Lab with Hamburg Kreativ Gesellschaft was perfectly suitable for that. And we were very happy that Dräger was also so keen to jump onto the challenge together with us. And so we can really try it out and find out what is working, what should we use or consider for our ongoing activities, then for our internal process, and learn while you are doing it. So that was learning or benefit number one, I would say. The second point, Paul or Florian, who wants to jump in here? I think
yeah, of course. When it comes to the role for us creatives, so the first request or the first approach was in terms of the hygienic task to find a better material. So therefore, we asked ourselves how we can provide solutions, how we can help in this kind of request, and therefore we try to challenge the task again, and thought about thinking in more or less in new ways instead of only creating kind of a new material. So therefore we try to challenge also the collaboration together with ALBIS, and try to find a new way, a new approach to the basic problem. So start from the beginning and find the origin of the problem, and try to find any approaches where we can help in a better way, where we can also bring in our skills and our benefits in a better way.
Yeah, and to emphasize also the problem we have as a company is always that you get somehow or stuck with a known your known path. Yeah, so we are already quite well in reacting on customer demands and creating solutions out of that. But here was very helpful that the creatives really said, okay, but what is the new thing then here if jump directly onto the solution in the material? So this was very helpful for us to be questioned and create in the end something completely unexpected or unplanned, because we said then, okay, let's split it. Let's say part of this program won't be the material question. Let's focus on the visionary stuff and create something new. And with everyone leaving his or her home turf and his area of expertise to really bring in new perspectives into the mix. And this was very insightful for I would say for everyone who was part of this process. Yeah, and what we took out of that, because we as a producer of thermoplastics, we are not the ones who can drive at the end this visionary project or this idea. This is something Dräger is considering now internally. But for us, it was more about the learning from the process itself. And how can we replicate it in a smaller scale? And what do we have to consider in the process? And this was very helpful also the format of Hamburg Kreativ Gesellschaft to say, okay, let's do a review, or I don't know how it was called in the process, but just before we present the results, we said, okay, let's look back and see what we have learned, what has changed. And we really focused on the question, what can we take with us into the further discussion internally to replicate something like that? And this was for us in the end a starting point. Yeah, and let's see how we can evolve something out of that. And there was progress on that question, also together with Florian, Paul, and Olaf, to think about, okay, how we can build something internally, how we can create an InnoPath, how we called it, for our internal teams. And yeah, we are quite happy that we have now an idea and concept we will really try out next year with additional customers and establishing a new format for our marketing colleagues that they can use to really get earlier into the process, which was the question in the beginning of the project. So quite successful in the end.
I wanted to learn more about the environment in which you are getting participation with your customers. Are you meeting in a room? Are you sending out questionnaires? What kind of content? Sometimes people can meet in a room that has lots of diagrams on the wall. So what I would call a content-rich environment. And also issues of intellectual property. Do you work something out with your customers saying, you know, we're equal participants, therefore this is what's happening with IP?
Yeah, to answer your last question perhaps first regarding intellectual property, this is a big topic also for us. And so we said for our internal approach now, we have two different levels. We said we have one level which we would use a bit more openly. We call it in a way that we catch the fish somehow. So identify the ones who would be interested, and it would be some kind of a side format of a conference or something, or perhaps also a web-based format. So at least these are the ideas. But this is the second step. The second level we want to start. First of all, we start with our known customers, big corporations, where we know that there's a need, and we want to try out and create benefit for them, and then use this as a showcase to continue with that even further. And for them, it's depending really on the customer, because we have big corporations where we need to be close at one location, but perhaps they have also teams connected from somewhere else. So we have to find ways how we have breakout sessions that can remotely on one side, but physically on the other side, and bring that together again, combined with keynotes, discussing trends, so openness, so to say, from customer side, but also from our side, or even from external side. So if we talk about certain topics, perhaps we have a keynote speaker from giving a completely different perspective onto that. So that's the idea from a format, but it depends on the customer side. But it's highly interactive. So something like sending over a questionnaire and working on that, that doesn't work, at least my mind. So we need to get together. But and this is what I told Jenny before, there is a lot of preparation now, getting the customers, the ones we want to try it out with, get them on board, because we also have to match the topic exactly on their demand, and also adjust the whole setup to the needs regarding, do they have everyone in one location, or can we even meet next year physically? This is something which we have to plan now a bit open, to be honest. Yeah. Does this answer your question, or did I miss one part of that? Sorry, Andrew.
Well, going back to IP, you said you have the level where you're catching fish, which could be a conference. What's the second level?
The second level is only with one customer. So there's an NDA between both parties, usually already now. So we have with the ones we want to try it out with, we have already a relationship, we have NDAs, or make then specific NDAs for projects that come out of that. Regarding property, I think this is not so a big question for us, because if we develop together in such an innovation workshop a product for our customer, then it is IP. If we get out of that with something we can use, and that will be part of the agreement anyway, if there's something materially related, we can use it not only for them, but also for everyone else. So that's something from a setup, but we have no interest in producing parts. We are only providing material and design the material according to the needs of the customer. So there's a clear line of interest between us and the customer, I would say.
Great, that's good. And what about the environments? You're talking about a conference.
Yeah, the conference is more the public one. The challenge is there, and we know that already, that the people are not so open on a conference. So on a conference, we have to be a bit even more on a meta level and discuss about meta trends and then identify who is really working on that, depending on their interaction on this meta topic. Because in particular in automotive or medical or other industries, they're highly competitive. And everyone is on these conferences. And if they read, okay, BMW is going into that slot, I join that too, working for someone else, I don't know. So that's a problem. And this is why we say, okay, this is only a starting point. Our focus, and this is also focus of the first trial, is then really with one customer, or perhaps in a setup where you have perhaps the producer, the one who's really producer manufacturing, which is usually a supplier of them, and us as a material provider, or perhaps also a tooling partner, or whatever is necessary in that process, that we come together. But then we have an NDA where the customer is happy that everything stays in his area of responsibility.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Then I just want to add one more question, Matthias, about what you just said, that being on a conference, all the companies are highly competitive. What would you think there is a need for also the companies in Hamburg, not just to meet the creatives? That's of course for me clear that you should meet them in a experimental but closed space somehow, but also different companies which are maybe heading into the same direction without being your competitor. Would that be something which you would wanted the public bodies to take care of a little more?
I guess I cannot answer that right now. We have to learn what is really the problem there. The challenge is that if you talk about, for example, the question of e-mobility, then you have only the car manufacturers as the ones who are interested and keen to discuss that. It perhaps depends a bit on the topic, but you mentioned also the creatives, and I missed that part earlier in the description of what we are doing. So what we also said for that program is that we not only be part of us as a supplier and the customer, but also bring in creatives, or at least a proper moderation for the process itself, to have an independent, different view, and that also we as a supplier are seen not as the organ or the owner of the event, but more that as a participant. To be really on the same level and have someone else, a moderator, a professional, or whatever, creatives who support the process and give in a different perspective, to have this built into the format. So this is also a learning we got from our project here. Yeah, that is very useful to have your guys on board.